Hey y'all, Salamander here with another Guild Wars 2 guide for the Secrets of the Obscure expansion. This is the Astral Ward Cloak. It's rewarded after obtaining all 6 of the soto weapons in the Honorary Astral Ward collection. This video will cover all the steps needed to complete it. If you watched my 6 videos covering how to obtain the weapons, I want you to know that this is a compilation of those videos. This video is more for those who want to see the completion of the achievement from start to finish. Before getting started, this month I'm giving away 1 legendary Frostfang axe plus 9 other prizes to 10 lucky winners. If you'd like to enter into this giveaway or my future giveaways, be sure to check out the video pinned in the comments. The first step of the achievement will require you to close a tentacle rift in the Bastion of Balance area on the Omnitos map. Just wait around until you've found a tentacle rift. Once you find one, fight the Cryptus in front of the tentacle until the tentacle becomes vulnerable. Once the tentacle's health drops to 25%, it will spawn either an elite or champion avatar of regret. Defeat the avatar and the tentacle will become vulnerable again. Kill it and close the rift, but try not to die like me in the process. After the rift has been closed, you'll be rewarded with the first Inspiration of Delamore. The next step will have you go to the Bastion of Balance waypoint. If the event chain hasn't started yet, you'll find Lear near the waypoint. This event chain requires 5 people to be in the circle around him for it to start. Once you have 5 people, there are 3 events in the chain. In the first event, you'll have to escort Lear to the Great Hall. It's pretty simple. Just kill the enemies that spawn, and it usually only takes a few minutes to complete, including the fight against Healer Ren. The second event in the chain will require you to focus on enemies with the crossed swords over their heads. They'll drop gavels on defeat. Pick up the gavel and strike the sound blocks. Complete the progress bar for both sides to finish the event. For the third event in the event chain, you'll have to kill 2 champions, but they have to die around the same time. Also, you'll occasionally be launched into the air and placed on your sky scale. During these phases, fly around and collect orbs, then go back to killing the 2 champions. Once both champions have been defeated, you'll be rewarded with the second Inspiration of Delamore. For the third item in the collection, head back to the Bastion of Balance waypoint and speak to the Faction Provisioner. Click on the second tab to purchase and unlock the Essence of Balance. Next, head to the Granite Citadel waypoint on the Dredgehaunt Cliffs map and head south to the Heart Vendor Arcanist Vance. If you haven't completed his heart quest, complete it and speak to him to purchase the Dwarven Relic. The final item is the third Inspiration of Delamore. It will require you to complete the Unlocking the Wizard's Tower meta event. Once you complete the meta, you'll be rewarded with the final item in the collection, along with the Scales of Dragomar exotic focus and skin. To get the strength of the Unseen Greatsword, first take the Bastion of Strength waypoint in Omnitos and run alongside this building. Hiding along the left side of this building, you'll find Callan. Speak to Callan and unlock Callan's Morning. After you've unlocked Callan's Morning, you're going to head west. Run west until you've reached this ledge. Drop down near the side of this cliff face, and at the bottom you'll see Ithel. Speak to her to unlock Ithel's Morning. Once that's unlocked, head to the Spellcrafting Workshop point of interest. Just south of there, you can speak to Mare. Just head northwest from Ithel or the Bastion of Strength waypoint, and once you speak to Mare, you'll unlock Mare's Morning. Next, take the Tower Courtyard waypoint on the Wizard's Tower map and head south. Fly up past Iskarin and you'll see Groundskeeper Jaren. Go past him in the room to the right and you'll find Mabon's journal at the end. It will place his journal in your inventory. Double-click to unlock Mabon's journal. Then take the Watchful waypoint or the Honor of the Waves waypoint if the first one is contested. Head to this ledge here and you'll find the next piece of Mabon's journal. After Mabon has completed his dialogue, you'll have unlocked a visit to the north. To get the third piece of Mabon's journal, take the Ascalon Settlement waypoint or the Bloodsfields waypoint on the Gandharan's Fields map if the first is contested. Head to this ledge north of the Ascalon Settlement waypoint, and on this cliff near the ruins, you'll find the third piece of Mabon's journal. Read it, and after the conversation between Mabon and Isgarin, a new threat emerges will be unlocked. The Essence of Strength can be purchased near the Bastion of Strength waypoint in Omnitos. Take the waypoint and just south of it, speak to the Fraction Provisioner. Select the second tab to purchase and unlock the Essence of Strength. For the final part, head to the top of Mabon's Tower. At the top, interact with the Mastery Point and click Channel the Essence of Strength into the Mastery Insight. Clicking it will immediately complete the Strength of the Unseen achievement and reward you with the Strength of the Unseen Greatsword. For the first two Fractured Constellation items in the Joten Sky Piercer collection, make your way to Omnitos and find a group for the meta. During the meta, make sure you close the Tentacle Rift in the Bastion of the Celestial area. If you missed that event, then completing the meta should complete the first item. Before the end of the meta, there will be a mechanic wherein you'll have to summon the Guardian of the Celestial by standing in some of these inner circles during this phase and matching the summoning ritual skills with Dagda's. Just match the color of Dagda with the skill you're using and you'll complete it. After summoning the Guardian of the Celestial and completing the meta, you should have been rewarded with the first two Fractured Constellation items. The third item is the Essence of the Celestial, and it can be purchased from the Faction Provisioner next to the Bastion of Strength waypoint. The fourth item is the third Fractured Constellation. For this, find a group to successfully complete the Cosmic Observatory Strike mission. If you can't find a group to do the strike mission, I would suggest waiting until it's a daily achievement. You'll find groups running the strike mission fairly often when it's daily if you keep checking the LFG for strike missions. Upon successful completion, you'll be rewarded with the third Fractured Constellation. For the final item, the transcribed Joten Runestone, take the Twinspur Haven waypoint in Wayfarer Foothills. Head northwest to the Heart Vendor Albin Chronicler. If you haven't completed his heart quest, complete it and interact with him to purchase the transcribed Joten Runestone, rewarding you with the Joten Sky Piercer longbow. First, take the Bastion of the Natural waypoint in Omnitos. You'll have to keep going around this area to look for a tentacle rift. Kill the tentacle and close the rift to complete the first step, rewarding you with the Memory of Ascension. The next step requires you to do 5 specific events to complete an achievement called the Nourish Natural. First, you'll have to head to Concoctor's lab for an event chain that starts with the NPC Zizzle. The first event will have you interact with these recipe books and find the 4 ingredients and put them into the cauldron next to the recipe book you're referencing. The ingredients don't have to be placed into the pot in order, and for mine I needed Hylic poison, a bone, a flower, and otherworldly ooze. The ingredients will be different depending on the recipe book you're using. Repeat until this first event is complete. Then you'll have to escort Zizzle to the veranda point of interest. Along the way you'll have to pick up any of the potions that somehow shoot out of Zizzle's crate and kill any cryptids that spawn. Once you reach the veranda, Zizzle will place his crate down. Pick up potions from the crate and use them on the cryptids that spawn. Pay attention to Zizzle though. He'll let you know when to switch to a different potion. After the progress bar fills, the event will be complete. Next, head to the Creature Corral point of interest. Wait for an event called Help Furrow Purge Corruption from the animals and return them home. For this event, you'll have to lure creatures back to their little rooms. First, speak to Furrow and ask for a flute. We'll use the Sky Scale as an example. Attack it until its health reaches 25%. It will become invulnerable. Use the Purge Corruption special action key to break its Defiance bar. Once broken, you'll eventually get the special action to play the flute. Play the flute for the creature until it makes its way back to its room. Repeat on the remaining creatures until the event is complete, and then head to the Botanical Sky Garden. Here you'll wait for an event where you'll have to help Narcisse purge corruption from the plants. Just attack the possessed plants until they're at 25% health. Use the special action key when it pops up to break the Defiance bar and they'll become friendly again. Repeat until the progress bar is full and Matthew, the jungle worm, will spawn to the northern part of the garden. Attack him until 25% and use the special action key when it pops up. Once the Defiance bar is broken, kill the Cryptis tethered to Matthew and you'll receive the second item in the collection, Memory of Ascension. The third item, Essence of the Natural, can be purchased from the faction provisioner next to the Bastion of the Natural waypoint. The final item, Memory of Ascension, is obtained by completing the Forgotten Lore achievement. This achievement will require you to obtain a total of 5 fragments of Forgotten Lore. The game gives you 8 ways to get these fragments. The jumping puzzles give 1 fragment each, the map metas give 2 fragments each, and the dungeon gives 3 fragments. The metas are more complicated if you're not lucky enough to be on at a time with a lot of people playing on those maps, so I decided to get the 5 fragments by completing the dungeon and jumping puzzles. The dungeon is the ruined city of Arah located on the Cursed Shore map. You can get there by taking the Arah waypoint. I would recommend doing it with a full party of 5, but as you can see here, we somehow managed to do it with 2. The only way you can get it is by completing Path 3 with Warden Illyria. The other paths will not reward you with fragments of Forgotten Lore. Thankfully, Path 3 is said to be the shortest and easiest path. I originally wrote the script with a guide to the dungeon, but it would have extended this video by over 15 minutes, so I left a guide in the description below. After completing Path 3 of the ruined city of Arah Dungeon, you'll be rewarded with 3 fragments of Forgotten Lore. For the final 2 fragments, you'll have to complete 2 jumping puzzles, the Buried Archives and the Antra of Adjournment. You can find the Buried Archives south of the Anchorage waypoint, slightly north of this vista, and the Antra of Adjournment to the east of the Valley of Lists waypoint. You'll find the fragments next to the final chest of each of these jumping puzzles. If you'd like to watch me complete both of the jumping puzzles, I'll include those at the end of this video. After obtaining the 4th and 5th fragments of Forgotten Lore, you will be rewarded with the Memory of Ascension, the final item needed to unlock and complete the Spire of Forgotten Staff achievement. The latter part of the collection for the Eternal Blade will require you to have Asa's Crusader inscription, which must be crafted with a 500 rating in either Artificer, Huntsman, or Weaponsmith. The recipe can be purchased from Ago and Radasum, who can be reached by taking the Accountancy waypoint and running to his little cubby to the northeast. Speak to him, select the 3rd tab, and purchase the Ascended Inscription recipe. Double-click the container and select the recipe for Asa's Crusader inscription. Once you have that, you'll need 10 globs of dark matter, 1 Delamore steel-plated dowel, 1 Crusader orichalcum imbued inscription, and 10 piles of crystalline dust. Dark matter can be salvaged from level 68 exotic gear or higher. The Delamore steel-plated dowel can either be purchased from the trading post or crafted using these ingredients on the screen. The Crusader orichalcum imbued inscription can be crafted using a recipe purchased from Master Artificers, Huntsmen, and Weaponsmiths, or through the chest of inscriptions that you can get through raids. And the piles of crystalline dust drop from a lot of things but can easily be purchased off the trading post if you don't already have a stockpile of them. After you've crafted Asa's Crusader inscription, take the Bastion of the Obscure waypoint and speak to the faction provisioner next to the waypoint and purchase the Essence of the Obscure. You'll need to keep this in your inventory. Next, head north from the same waypoint and wait for the Fight Off the Cryptis ambush event. If it's not active, you'll have to wait until you see the dynamic event icon on the map. By walking into the icon once it spawns, it will trigger the event. You may need a few other people with you, but the event is pretty simple. Just kill the cryptids that spawn before the timer runs out, and if you get teleported into this dark room, find your clone and kill it to teleport back out. Successful completion of the event will unlock Echo of the Past. Once you've completed the event, take the Bastion of the Obscure waypoint and head southwest to the Riftworks point of interest. Around here you should be able to find Head Experimenter Rhiannon. If you see her with the dynamic event icon above her head, you'll have to trigger it and complete the event before completing this step. The event will have you interact with these fellows with the magnifying glasses over their heads. Some will become aggressive. Fight them and use your special action key when it pops up to spawn one of these veterans here. Once the veteran has spawned, kill it to progress the event. Rinse and repeat, and within a few minutes the event will be complete. Follow Head Experimenter Rhiannon until you can interact with her again. Once you can, go through the dialogue to be rewarded with the item Echo of the Past and complete Echo of the Obscure. Keep the item in your inventory. The next part will require you to head to the Wizard's Tower. Take the Tower Courtyard waypoint and head south. Fly up one floor above Asgarin and turn right. The second room will be Asgarin's quarters. Interact with Turai's journal and it will be added to your inventory. Double-click on the book to receive the Echo of Turai item. Take the Echo of Turai, Echo of the Past, the Essence of the Obscure, and Osaw's Crusader inscription and place them into the Mystic Forge to complete Turai's artifact. For the final step, take the Durman Priory waypoint in Lornar's Pass and head to the Hero Point by the Priory Archives. Interact with it to charge Turai's artifact and you'll be rewarded with the Eternal Blade. For the first part of the collection for the Knowledge of the Elders achievement, take the Bastion of Knowledge waypoint in Omnitos and speak to the faction provisioner. Select the second tab to purchase the Essence of Knowledge. Next, to unlock the first Spark of Knowledge, you'll have to stay within the Bastion of Knowledge to find and close a tentacle rift within that area. Closing the rift will complete this second step. For the third step, you'll need to defeat a boss in the Hall of Secrets. If the event Defeat the Mysterious Entity is not available, you'll have to wait for the event Navigate Asgarin's Wards, which spawns northwest of the Bastion of Knowledge waypoint. To navigate Asgarin's Wards, pick up the Ward Detection spellbook and run into the maze to the north. If you can't walk through an archway, there's a barrier there. Use the one skill when the spellbook is equipped to detect any barriers. The goal is to navigate through the maze to find and activate the ward kill switch. As long as someone participating in the event activates the switch, it will complete the event for everyone participating. Make your way to this portal here to teleport into the Hall of Secrets. Wait in the Hall of Secrets until you see this dynamic event icon. That will be Ueno on his way to start the final event in the chain. Once he stops, just wait a little longer and the Astral Ward Protectors will spawn an entity. Upon defeating the entity, the third step, the second Spark of Knowledge, will be complete. Then head to the Bastion of Knowledge Library. You'll have to defeat the Elite Avatar of Gluttony. If the event isn't available, wait for the event titled Collect Evidence of Cryptis Infiltration. This event is simple. Interact with the bookshelves and select the most suspicious looking book out of the three options. The green smile that pops up indicates that you've chosen the right book. Throw the book to Broca Steel Trap and kill the possessed ward workers. Do this until the event is complete. Once the event has been completed successfully, wait a few seconds and the Elite Avatar of Gluttony will spawn. Defeat it to be rewarded with a third Spark of Knowledge. For the fourth and last Spark of Knowledge, you'll have to participate in the meta event and kill Norris the Eyes of the Abyss at the end of the meta. Be sure you're on your Sky Scale and use your 2 skill to attack the eyes. Upon completing the meta, you'll be rewarded with the final Spark of Knowledge. After you've gotten the last Spark of Knowledge, head to the Wizard's Tower. Head south from the waypoint and use your Sky Scale to fly one floor above Asgarin. Turn right and the second room is Asgarin's quarters. On the table to the right, you'll find the Seer artifact. Interact with it and pick it up to complete this step. Next, take the German Priory waypoint on the Lornas Pass map and head northwest. Go into this instance here that leads down the stairs into the German Priory, and once you're inside, go left. In one of these center rooms, you'll find Historian Tranton. Speak to him and lie about where you got the artifact to complete the greater understanding. For a call for action, take the Bramble Pass waypoint on the Straits of Devastation map and use the path going east. Along the left side of this mountain, you'll find a small entry covered in vines. Walk through the vines and follow the path until you come across this jumping puzzle that I seem to mess up even though there's like 4 jumps. Make your way to this vault and speak to the ghost. After he has finished his dialogue, a call to action will be complete. The next 3 steps require you to defeat Central Tyrian world bosses. I put the wiki event timer in the description of this video so you know when they spawn and you can do them in any order. I would also recommend getting to a map early and checking LFG to make sure you're on an instance with more people. For the world bosses, first take the Splintered Coast waypoint in Sparkfly Fen and defeat Tecatl the Sunless to unlock the Shard of Decay. Next, take the Earthshake waypoint in Frostgorge Sound and defeat the Claw of Jormag to unlock the Shard of Ice. Then take the Lowland Burns waypoint in Bladeridge Steppes to defeat the Shatterer to unlock the Shard of Crystal. Once the 3 world bosses have been defeated, head back to the Bramble Pass waypoint for the final step. Go back to Sydney the Ghost in the same cave behind the vines and speak to him. Speaking to him will complete the achievement and reward you with the Knowledge of Elders torch. Once you've unlocked all of the weapons in the Honorary Astral Ward collection, you'll be rewarded with the Astral Ward Cloak. That about sums it up for this Guild Wars 2 compilation video. If you find my guides useful or are interested in my giveaways, be sure to like and subscribe so you stay notified. Also, feel free to comment any suggestions or requests for future videos. As always, take care my friends. I'll see you next time.